So here's an interesting story that has to do with YouTuber drama. And this is not something I normally report on very often because, to be honest, I just don't care. But I think it's something to do with Star Wars. And I think that's a very important thing to talk about because these are two major, and I mean major Star Wars accounts on completely opposite ends of the spectrum that are essentially going at it. We have an article here from That Park Place with a headline that reads, YouTuber Star Wars Theory threatens lawsuit against Wikipedia.
If you continue to lie and purport that my company is sending you death threats or reporting my followers to send you death threats, we'll take legal action against you.
Now, I've been seeing Star Wars Theory trending a lot lately, and it's because obviously the Acolyte is happening right now, and Star Wars Theory is one of the biggest YouTube channels regarding Star Wars, so why would it be too shocking that his name would not be spread around right now, considering that the Acolyte is the most talked about show in a negative way, and everybody wants to see people's reaction towards it. Now, in terms of Star Wars Theory suing Wikipedia, I can only imagine what it must have taken in order to get there, and from what I understand, Wikipedia isn't exactly the best kind of places in terms of information. It usually is pretty slanted to one side. At least that's my understanding of it. But let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says YouTuber Star Wars Theory is threatening a lawsuit against Wikipedia after the online Star Wars encyclopedia accused him and his followers of sending them death threats. Now, that is a big accusation to levy against someone. Now, this is something that we talk about quite a lot, right? Defamation in the online space. Everybody and their mother wants to claim that something is defamation when 99% of it is not actually defamation. It is very difficult for you to prove defamation. This is why Alyssa Mercante, with all the threats of lawsuits she has done, has yet to do so, because it is a very difficult thing. You cannot just say that someone defamed you without any sort of proof to it whatsoever. You're going to get laughed out of a courtroom pretty easily. However, saying that someone sent you death threats, or saying that someone, in terms like Star Wars Theory, which is a business, mind you, Star Wars Theory, like, it's not just a person, it's a business. Like, his YouTube channel is a business. To say that this business levied threats against you, that is a big claim to make, and that can actually be defamatory against Star Wars Theory and his business, because if people want to believe Wikipedia in what they're saying, I mean, these are just made up statements, right? Like, there's no proof to it whatsoever. It's completely made up. It's like, it's something totally different from Alyssa Mercante. When you report on Alyssa Mercante's words and just repeat what she said and give your opinion on it, that's not defamation. But when you do something like this and make a wild-ass claim completely out of nowhere and say Star Wars Theory sent you death threats, yeah, that's pretty much defamation. And if people want to believe you, then that's going to hurt Star Wars Theory's YouTube channel. But it says that ex-user Ash Rendar accused Star Wars Theory of sending his followers to issue death threats in a now-deleted post. I'm not surprised. Once you delete a post, I automatically think you're guilty. I'm just being honest with you. Like, it tells me that you wanted to put this out there into the stratosphere of the internet, and then you decided to delete it later to save your ass, but you already knew that the damage was done. Like, you do these things, or I should say they do these things, where they put it out there to try to get the attention, and then once it gets enough attention, they delete it so that way they can save their skin and say, well, I deleted it. You know, I deleted it. It's not true whatsoever, you know? So she wrote on X, hey, Star Wars Theory, these are your people sending death threats. Time to rein them in. Condemn what they are doing. Time to put your money where your mouth is and back up your be respectable spiel you always say. She added, and don't use your I don't control my community excuse. Now, here's the best thing about people like this to try to gaslight you, right? What they'll do is they'll ask you to do something, right? And then what they'll do is they will pigeonhole you into how you can respond, because your responses are never good enough for you, right? I highly doubt Star Wars Theories watches this video, but if he does, my advice to you is to realize that nothing you say, nothing you do, no answer you ever will give will be good enough for these psychopaths. They want to pigeonhole you into a specific kind of answer, so that way, after a while, your answer is going to sound like exactly what they need in order to cancel you. That's basically it. Theory responded on X, politely go fuck yourself. These aren't my people. Don't attach that to me or there will be serious consequences for you. These are people on their own, nothing to do with me. Please find where I've instructed people to send death threats to anyone. Quite the opposite. In fact, 8 years I've taken death threats and R threats to my past partners, poison threats to my mailbox, threats to my parents and animals, daily, nonstop. First for liking episode 9, then when I changed my mind, where the F was anyone then? Where the F were you when I was being laughed at for crying to Luke Skywalker? You joined in fact, alongside Pablo and NFL, taking jabs at me publicly. That's how it was handled, and I just have to take it because that's what I do. He continued, bullied as a kid for liking Star Wars, and then again as an adult. I've taken so much abuse from you psychotic people that I finally had enough. Go fuck yourself and deal with your shit on your own like I had to. Stop blaming me for other people's actions, you moron. Now, that is, quite honestly, the best response that he could possibly give. You know what I'm saying? That you cannot give in to these people. You know, they're essentially a different form of cancel culture. You cannot give in to them. They are the victims always. In their mindset, everything has to do with victimhood. So the moment something happens to them, it's always someone else's fault. It's never theirs, right? It never can be theirs. It has to be someone else's fault. Because if it's their fault, then they have to live with accountability. And that's not something they necessarily want to live with. So yeah, it's not too shocking that this is a thing, but I'm glad he responded in this way, but it gets better. In a follow-up, he wrote, I'm so fucking tired of people trying to constantly cry to me for other people's actions when they just throw the most disgusting hate towards me, my parents, my appearance, and my views just because I made a Star Wars YouTube channel. What about the dude who said I should have died of cancer instead of surviving it? Boo-boo me. No, grow a pair and move on. It's the internet. Piss off and leave me alone. Oh, wow. I actually didn't know Star Wars Theory had cancer, so that's crazy. I'm glad that you survived it, and I'm glad you beat it. Shows how strong of a person you are. Next, he added, here's one story for you. My dad got blocked calls from different guys telling him how they're going to brutally murder his son when he travels unless he publicly supports the sequels. Welcome to day 1 of 8 more years of fucked up stories. Shall I blame you and Disney? It's your people, after all. Reel them in. Piss off. Well, that's the thing. It's rules for thee, not for me, right? So they want to run around, claim victim the moment they get any sort of backlash whatsoever. And it doesn't have to be death threats, right? It could be literally anything. They'll be like, oh, why is this happening to me? Even though they're the ones who attack people, they're violent as shit. They the ones who throw death threats. You know what it is? It's projection. Let's be real. That's exactly what it is. They like to project how they personally act, think, and feel onto you and then claim that you're the bad guy for feeling, that you're not like that, Then with another user, Cyborg Rose 9917 posted, don't act like some of your community isn't toxic. If you just say you don't condone death threats on anybody, including yourself, that would be enough. No one deserves a death threat. Theory replied, how many times do I have to condemn these actions? How many videos? How many tweets? I have over 3,100 videos on YouTube alone, and in so many live streams and standalone videos, I've condemned this behavior. I get it more than anyone, both publicly and behind the scenes for years, from people just like you. And you know what? I mean, that's just the fucking facts, right? Like, at the end of the day, they want to make it seem as they're the only ones getting harassed. They're the only ones getting hated on. And that's just not the case, right? That's never the case. When somebody like this, Cyborg Rose, comes at you and tries to make you speak in a certain manner, they're not doing it from good faith. They're doing it because they want you to say something that's going to allow them to cancel you. He added, people who know me, support me, know that I preach, and have heard me condemn this behavior for years. It's people like you who don't know me and treat me like I'm supporting and encouraging this behavior to win an argument when I have no damn clue what every corner of the internet talks about. I tweet and go back to my business. I don't stay online and sip the tea. I don't have the luxury of time. Like I said, no one gets these more than me. You're preaching to the choir. No one deserves death threats, not you, not me, or anyone. Stop connecting me to this trash. That's a great response. Now, here's the final thing that I have the biggest issue with. Look at what this person, ex-user Pete, said. They said, it's time that Theory uses his platform, his reach, and his influence to denounce the threats and attacks. He already has, by the way. With the largest voice in the Star Wars community, simply casually covering his own ass with, remember, be respectful, doesn't cut it. Silence is endorsement. Now, that right there just proves the kind of person that you're dealing with, right? When they try to say silence is endorsement, silence is violence. Oh, if you're not saying anything against it, then you are for it. And that is the kind of person that is quite simply a cancel culture mob. That's what he is. He's trying to make you come out and speak against something that he personally has a problem with. And if you stay silent because you don't personally either, want to get involved or it doesn't involve you in general, Your silence is violence to him. Your silence is endorsement. If he asks you to speak and you don't speak, he has the right to then rage about it. That's essentially what it is. So listen, silence is not endorsement. Silence is just silence. He is running a business at the end of the day, and he doesn't have time or worry to fucking nanny and police the entire internet. And then on top of that, here's the best thing. Someone like this who says silence is endorsement, they're the kind of people that no matter how much you actually go against it, no matter how much you denounce it, no matter how much you may personally speak out against it, it would never be enough. It just will never be enough. They're going to constantly say you're not doing enough. They're going to constantly say you're not saying enough. And then eventually what's going to happen is you're going to fucking lose your mind and you're going to quit. That's really what it is, man. This is just another form of cancel culture in the form of controlled speech where they're trying to do everything they can to make you say what they want you to say. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.